back to Command West, a Commanders podcast where we tackle the latest Washington football team news and answer the hard-hitting questions like, who will the Commanders select for the 28th pick of the 2025 NFL Draft? We'll cover that and a lot more in tonight's episode of Command West. I'm your host, Bradley Roach.
Tico Wells.
Eddie Pass.
Donnie Roach, celebrating the season.
Celebrating the season. 2024 season has come to an end, sadly, in a pretty heartbreaking and ass-thrashing of a loss against my most hated team in the league.
They jumped to my most hated. I thought to myself after that game, I'm now I think I'm in Bradley's camp. I don't hate anyone more than the Eagles. After that, anyway, F the Eagles. That's all I have to say about that game.
I mean, nobody wants to admit that you got beat that badly, but for everybody watching, it was pretty obvious that we didn't really measure up. Just that day, we didn't measure up.
Yeah, we did not play our best. We probably played our worst game of the season, but
probably the worst game of the season.
Hell of a fucking season, and
hell of a season. Yeah, that's what I say. I'm just focused on celebrating the season and not that game at all.
Yeah. Should we talk a little bit about the game, or should we just go right into celebrating the season?
No, we got to talk about the game.
We got to talk a little bit about the game, but play up the positives if we could.
Yeah.
First of all, let's give ourselves a congratulations. We took this team. 4 of us helped.
Yeah, that's right. We did.
To the NFC Championship.
Yeah, man.
First time since actually the 91-92 season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Who would have thought it?
You know,
we
got outmatched
season.
and it was we weren't ready. We weren't ready and
we looked young. We were playing young.
And maybe do you think the hype had anything to do with it?
Of
Because
course.
if you think about it, they weren't talking about Jalen Hurts. They were talking about Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
But it
The
wasn't
whole
Jaden
time.
that was the problem. So I don't know.
They were talking about Saquon on the Eagles side.
Yeah,
and he did.
And
gash us.
I got 2 things that kind of came to mind after this game was, number one, it was something my dad said that actually helped me kind of cope.
Oh, good. That's my job.
30 teams are disappointed at the end of the year. 31 teams.
31 teams.
31 teams are disappointed at the end of the year.
Only one team that ends up with happy at the end of the year, right?
And if you're gonna make an argument for the team that should be the happiest, that is not the one that's gonna win the Super Bowl, maybe it's an argument for us.
Oh, that's a real good point.
We have so much to look forward to. We have the 4th amount of cap space. We have 7 picks, and we have but not even talking about that, we have a team that is worth rooting for the first time in at least 12 years, if not longer.
Right.
And so if you're going to make an argument for any team that should be really, really happy with going into this offseason, you gotta have our name in the contention.
The turnaround was unprecedented and remarkable. Yeah. Kudos.
And when you talk about happy teams too, exiting, you think Detroit was happy this year?
That's what I'm saying. Every time.
Look at that. There's a team that's so strong last year, right? Had everything aligned to go to the Super Bowl. They thought this was their year. And it got the rug pulled out, and they don't look at their year as a positive with that many wins. They're not looking at it as, oh my God, we had such a great year. Let's go for next year. No, they're like, that was our chance.
Yeah.
And now they have 2 coordinators that are gone, so they have to replace them and figure out.
Right. So now the whole chemistry might change, and that's the thing I think I'm going to come away from with this is I'm going to embrace how great it was to put everything in place so quickly and so efficiently, and have everything aligned for us every week, except for 3 or 4 where we just kind of had little brain farts and the whole team just lost it. But we ended up with a season that is in the record books. You can't take it away from us. And if you look at next year, going back to what happened with Detroit, we don't know what's going to happen next year. Dallas might I don't know, do something with Jerry Jones and put a real. Who they got? Schottenheimer's son is in there now. Well,
Schottenheimer, yeah.
I don't know what he's going to do. But you never know what's going to happen. Everybody's saying, "Oh, now it's Washington and Philly in the NFC East." It could be the Giants and Dallas next year. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't know.
Well,
Every
I
year.
mean, the year that I think both years that the Giants won the Super Bowl, most recent Super Bowls, I think it was wild card. They were wild cards.
I think they were like the 6th or 7th seed when that they
Right.
were
Yeah.
like where we were. Yeah, surprisingly.
And they beat the Patriots both times.
so it
Wow.
was funny because we started this segment saying, let's talk about the game. And we
I know.
haven't even mentioned the game
So
yet.
I'm saying
So I'm
Well,
going to talk about the
it's-
game.
it's not about the
underneath.
game for me.
It's
but
it's the underlying.
You were
thing.
just talking about the Giants, so I don't know.
But it's
Yeah,
bigger than the
because
game.
because
is what
Eddie
I'm
was
saying.
saying
I know.
that
I'm playing.
you know,
I'm
Bigger
playing.
than the game.
but
But
it's underneath. I mean,
But I'll go to my
55-23.
I'll go to my second point, which is about the game, which is I was talking to my cousin and he was like, I was surprised we got blown out.
Mhm.
And I agree with him. I'm surprised we got blown out because we only got blown out of one game this season. It was the first game of the season. So we don't usually get blown out. But I did say to him, I said, I'm not that surprised because everything was, like Eddie just said, everything was kind of perfect for a really long time.
Mhm.
And a lot of our players and like groups were playing extraordinary for the ordinary that we have. And
Right.
it can only, like, the house of cards can only hold up for so long before the big bad wolf comes in and blows it down. And for this game, it was the Eagles. And for this game, all of our faults, it really was all of our faults, came to fruition. Our O-line, who has struggled all year, and we had some pretty gnarly injuries too in the last, really struggled in this game. Jane Daniels was running for his life. We couldn't get a run game together.
Mhm.
Our pressure, we could not get pressure on Jalen Hurts with 4 all game. We had to blitz. And when we blitz, look at the back end,
Horrendous.
who has also been struggling all year. And we had a lot of trouble with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, penalties and stuff. Oh, hey, here comes the run game of the Philadelphia Eagles. Wow. We had been slowing down
Right.
Bucky Irving and David Montgomery. We let Jahmyr Gibbs run all over us, and then Saquon, it was every, and here's our skill positions, who are a little lackluster, but had been playing excellent. So good. De'Ami Brown, Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols had all been playing electric. They come into this game, they each have a fumble, and that's what lost the game for us.
Yeah.
It was just kind of the house of cards tumbling, and we got beat by 30.
Every single problem
and
that we've
here's-
ever had got magnified in that one game. Right.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say too about, because I agree with you, Bradley. It was the turnovers, and yeah, there were 3. I mean, the last one was at the end of the game, but there, 3 turnovers that really made a difference, and they turned around and scored on us. And sure, it was more than 21 points. They beat us by 33, but it got to a point in the game where just everything was, the air was out of our sails. And I do have to give props to a strong Eagles defense, because they caused almost, I think, every one of those turnovers. Like they're ball hunters. They punch those balls out, and they did it well. So it wasn't guys just kind of losing the handle. It was somebody coming in there and punching the ball out. And like, there's a part of me that's like, that's what I want to, that's what I want us to be. And we have a defensive coach now who kind of did things like that with Dallas, and so I'm hoping in again, looking forward to next season, that we have that kind of defense that are dogs for getting the ball and getting turnovers. The Eagles did that, and they did that to us, and it kind of crushed our soul, I think, and that's, and then the score ran up.
It was a whooping, just like the way the Detroit game went in reverse, and it was the same thing as a shock thing. We even got more of an injection of it with the first play off the scrimmage from that. I mean, to see Saquon go to the house on the first play after we just ate up 8
we
minutes.
had such a nice drive.
We ate up 8 minutes.
Were you surprised? I wasn't.
No.
I was like, oh, there you go.
I didn't expect it on the first play.
I was. Because it's
I was like,
you
oh,
just
there
like
he
let's go.
is.
I was
Is
like,
that
let's
the-
go
that's the guy
score,
we've been
and then
looking for.
and then we fumble, and I was like, oh, geez, this is.
yeah.
After
You
that
know
first
what?
fumble, I was like, oh,
You know,
we might lose this game.
here's what was curious to me. We drive down 18 plays.
Uh-huh.
18, count them. We kept going for fourth downs. We kept making them. Then we get down to the end and we kick a field goal. That was not a moment. That was a momentum shift. Because for the Philadelphia defense, that was a win.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
Agreed,
they were 2 for 2 on fourth down before that. And so then they had the third fourth down. And I I just wonder if he's hedging his bets, because like if you have that long drive and turn the ball over on downs and come away with no points, that can be a moment.
I remember. I
The
remember.
shift is still going to be there.
Yeah,
So,
I remember that moment and me going, I'm riding with whatever Dan decides to do.
Right.
He goes for this, like, all right, cool. If he takes the points, like, I'm okay with that. The other two, I was like, we go for this. We got to go for this.
Right.
That third one, I was like, yeah, it's really hard to walk away with 0 points here.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. I also could see, I also was like, if we go for that, I'm not gonna be like, oh, we should have taken the points,
Here's why I think we should have guaranteed the 3, because their kicker was having issues this whole year.
Mm.
Who's their kicker? What's his name?
Elliott.
Remember how many he was missing? So, like, I look at that, he might miss one. So we might need these 3 points.
And he did miss one. But it's like,
True.
I'm wondering, like, what the conversation was this week. I know it was, we got to stop Saquon. We got to stop Saquon.
Right.
We got to stop Saquon. And if you think about it, other than that 60-yard run, of his 118 yards or whatever, that was the bulk of it right there.
That was half of it right there.
Right, and we said we wanted him to stay under 150, didn't we? Or 120? We said.
Mine was under 100. Was what I was pushing for. And again, you take away the one run, and I guess they did that. But
how many touchdowns?
But then the second string guy went in there and had a ripped off a 50-yard.
We were already beaten. So. We were Donnie. Yeah. We were down.
I know. No, I know.
To think that we were down, we were trailing 11 going into the fourth quarter is crazy.
Yeah.
Right. And then they just popped it. Popped it.
Wow.
Our defense really. Our defense, the turnovers.
You can't really even blame our defense though, because they had 2 stops in the third quarter, and again, we're down 11. We have the ball down reach. 11.
Yeah.
Those turnovers.
And Austin Eckler, it's bad. Diami and Austin, that's bad. Those two were bad. Jeremy, you can't really even that one was the most heartbreaking, because it was like, okay, let's get the ball back and let's go make a play.
We didn't even get to take the field.
We didn't even, and it felt like I hadn't watched the offense play forever. But he's not a kick returner. Yeah, you can't really ask him to go back there and do that. He hasn't done that.
Who is that? Who is that?
McNichols.
Jeremy McNichols.
Oh yeah. That was
the other two guys. The other two guys get down, man.
Right.
Diami's trying to do too much. It's just.
And let's do one of these sports shows First Take, where Molly asked the question: was it more bad on our side or good defense on Philadelphia's side? Because they were doing the Peanut Tillman.
That's what I'm saying.
Tico, let me ask you this. What's the one team that we have turned the ball over to most this season? And yeah, we played them 3 times. But there's not I just answered that question, but you can answer it.
Well, of course, yeah.
Who is it?
3 times.
But
wasn't the Giants, was it? No, that's only 2. Dallas?
That's only 2. But every other team, last time we played them, we turned it over 5 times.
Right.
We don't turn the ball over.
I know.
I know.
Hadn't
I
turned it
know.
over at all in the playoffs.
I know.
Jaden has, I think he has 9. I think that was his 10th interception for the season.
Yeah.
In 2 games against Philly, we have 8 turnovers.
Right.
Wow.
Well,
We have almost as much turnovers as Jaden has interceptions on the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like so you're right, Tico. The Eagles defense somehow is getting the ball when they play us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many times we turned it over in the first game.
They're dogs.
And it's and you know, you take a McNichols who doesn't have a big resume as far as I know.
Yeah.
He's returning the ball, and all of a sudden the dude is in his face.
Yeah. You can't
You know,
really
when you don't have that experience, you just don't realize the timing. Diami, this is the biggest game of his life.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest game of his life.
Trying to make something happen.
He's trying to make something happen. Austin, he's coming back from being out for weeks.
Austin he's a running back. I think the most blame is on Austin. I think out of the 3. You got to blame Austin the most.
Veteran,
he's the most experienced veteran.
Ball handler.
Handler. He's a running back. You gotta tuck up there.
I know, but
he
punched.
You know, the fact that nobody was around him, he probably felt, oh man, I slipped. Nobody touched me. Let me get up and get some more yardage. And then boom.
Yeah.
It was
I still don't know how we didn't get the ball there.
Hogs like that.
Yeah.
We have not been ball hogs except for the Lions game. We have not been punching the ball out. We have not.
See, I'm gonna push back on that just slightly because I do agree with you, but I have seen us go for the ball more this season than I've ever seen in the past.
I would agree with
that. So
the
mentality is there. That's where I'm like, maybe it's a skill issue. Maybe it's a position issue. Like we're not putting ourselves in that position enough because it felt like the Eagles were always in that position.
Here's what I
and it's like mistake. Is it right, Tico? You're right. Is it mistakes? Is it their dogs? Like because Yami is running away. Ashton Eckler's getting up. Like it was just like
here's the difference I see between what they were doing and what we've because you're right, we have done it more this year. What we tend to do is it's that play where the runners kind of stood up for a minute and you try and rake it out, right?
And they're already got it tight.
And these guys are they're running like and the punch just like it's a skill to it. Yeah,
you're not even trying to tackle. They're trying to punch.
They do a punch before they even go for the tackle. You know, which you could say, you know, don't just go for the ball. Make sure you make the tackle because if you miss the ball, then the runner escapes. You know, but these guys weren't missing. They're nailing the ball, and I
guarantee you they practice this more than any other team in the league, probably, and that's why they're so good at it. But back to the original point, can I pull this back about that?
Okay,
we're talking about how the defense, our Washington defense, didn't play that well. We were sort of judging them, and you came up, Bradley, and said, "Oh no, well, you know, they actually did play pretty well." The difference is how did they have to play after a turnover?
Right.
You know how powerful the Eagles are from the 50-yard and into the end zone. They're going to throw different places.
Yeah.
They're going to blow us out with like going deep, and then they're going to Saquon, and then they're going to do this, and AJ Brown. I mean, let's look. We were out
and that first fumble, Diami Brown, it was to the Washington 45 for 6 yards, and then the Eagles recovered it at the 48. So they started off at the 48.
Right, and
excellent field position.
My point is that the defenses play differently. As a team, we had to play differently. We're trying to keep them out of the end zone.
Yeah.
And hopefully hold them to 3 or nothing.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we're being Saquon.
And then it's like we're going into halftime. They get the ball at half. We're down by 14. Damn, we need to cut this. Or we're down by 7. We're gonna go get points here. And then we fumble. And it's like now we're down by 14, and we still got points. That's what pisses me off, man. Is we had 1 minute and 36 seconds with all of our timeouts. You know we're putting up points, even if it's just 3. But we are. We're one of the best in the league.
Yeah. We had 1 minute and 30 seconds with no timeouts and went down there and got 3 points, right?
Yeah.
Didn't
we had 36 seconds.
Or 30, okay, there you go.
With no timeouts.
No timeouts. Yeah. I mean, that was a great little, end of half drive. But
yeah.
And
okay, all right.
when McNichols fumbled, he was only at the 22-yard line.
Well, yeah, that was a kick return. I mean, that's
That
it
was-
put them
yeah.
in great position. Let me, if I can, highlight a play play and player that might get overlooked in all this beatdown, because there was a sweet play by the guy who used to be our favorite player and the best player on the team, Tress Way. On that
That
fake punt.
was great.
Was
I
that
didn't even
sweet?
remember that happened.
And he
That
threw it to our
was
rookie
great.
Sinnott, like we had to go
That
up and get
was
that ball. I mean,
great.
it was pulled
That
off
was
so
great.
well, and it's almost a shame that such a great play and fake punt gets lost in a game that was such a beatdown, because it was really
Score
well
after
great.
that.
executed.
I'm interested to see if we scored after that.
You did
I think we scored a field
a
goal.
field goal, yeah.
Yeah, I think that we only got a field goal on that one. Yeah.
All right.
Well, we got a lot to learn about how
Yeah,
to handle.
I think
pressure games.
I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm ready to move on to more
next
happier
year.
topics.
I was ready before we started, so.
Yeah. I got a couple commanding attentions.
Okay, what you got?
I texted after the game. I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to do it this week.
Right.
And really, the podcast.
Yep.
And really, I was looking forward to because I was like, I'll take this week, and then I'll get to watch the Pro Bowl. I'll get to watch our boys throw it around, catch have fun in the Pro Bowl. Well, Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin are not going to be participating in the,
I heard
in the
Terry
Pro Bowl.
wasn't. Jaden isn't either. Okay, I didn't know.
Nope.
Okay.
I don't want them to go.
I want them to go too, but
no, I said I don't want them to go.
Eddie said he doesn't want them to
why
go.
not?
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's a chance to pull your hamstring for
Brady
nothing.
might get hurt. Yeah, right.
Oh,
aren't they doing flag football
It's
this year?
flag football now, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
they
because
play
a lot of guys
dodgeball,
don't want to do it
throw a ball
anymore.
around.
It's not like
Yeah.
a baseball or basketball
No, it
all-star
isn't.
game. This
Go around
is
the
like you're not playing with your regular team. The chances of injury are. Remember the thing you sent us, Eddie, with Sean Taylor whacking
I almost
somebody.
said, I think that might be why they changed some of the rules
Yeah.
after Sean Taylor played that hit on that guy.
Sean Taylor thought it was the Super Bowl and just leveled that poor guy.
Well, I enjoy watching, especially there's a ton of media around it. So
Yeah.
you get interviews.
And you don't usually see many of our guys there.
You get guys, joking around with other guys from teams. I don't know. I think it's fun to watch, but
I'd much rather him play golf. I'll tell you the truth. I'd rather see them play golf in Hawaii.
I can't agree with you there.
Go to Hawaii. play some
anyway,
golf.
my point is that we're not going to be able to see that. And I don't know. What do you guys think of them opting out?
I
I
don't
think
mind.
I understand it for the same reasons Eddie and Tico were just saying. It doesn't really surprise me. I hadn't heard about Jaden, but it doesn't surprise me.
They were hoping to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I think it's like that competitor in both of them that they're like, I'm not going to go kick the ball around, for fun. Like, we got to get back to work. Like, it's kind of like a dog mentality. It's like, obviously I'm selfishly bummed because I wanted to watch him, and get more.
I read that's where he learned all his little juke moves was when he was a kid. He started off in flag, and he was the best in flag. No one could grab his
probably would have done very well.
Yeah, it would have been fun to watch. Anyway, so that's number one. Number two is Cliff Kingsbury will be back for another year.
Yes,
and it looks
I did
like
see that. How great is that?
We might have some, David Blau, I think is getting an interview. We might, we might lose some people, but it sounds like a lot of the coaching staff is going to stick around for at least another year, which is exciting.
Yeah.
We talked about how the Detroit is that they don't have that same luxury. Both of their coordinators are gone. And so
it's interesting because I was thinking about it with the players, and I know we'll talk a little bit more about this, but which players do you want to keep? Which players do you want to try and let go of and try and bring in an upgrade?
Yeah.
And I wonder if there's a certain mentality of, we had a really strong year, so better than we expected. Do we kind of want the team to look basically like it did before, with some upgrades, but it's not a rebuild or even a recalibration like Dan Quinn liked to call this year. This should feel like when they come back next year, it's kind of the team I saw last year for the most part, and because there's also something to be said for consistency with a team. It's you don't get it much in the NFL. Every team, like it's always a new team every year. It feels like, and so
Right.
that could be a way to kind of build upon what we had this year, is to keep some of these people that like, do we keep them? Do we let them go? Maybe we keep them that way. There's more consistency from year to year.
I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I you want to hear a funny stat?
Okay.
I don't know how funny it is, but who do you think is at the top of the playoff receivers in the NFL? They've gone from looking at the entire NFL to now just the playoff teams.
Yeah, right.
I'll give
Is
you
it
a
gonna
hint.
be like Kelsey or something?
His initials are DB.
De'Ami Brown.
Yes, he's leading the NFL in receiving yards.
Oh, this year
in the
in the
playoffs,
playoffs.
right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought
just
you
in the
meant
playoffs.
playoffs overall.
He
That's
and
why I was
Terry are leading. I mean, that may get
Well,
AJ may catch up, or somebody may catch up.
in the Super
Dallas
Bowl, yeah.
Goddard may catch up.
Right.
Dallas Goddard's probably the one that's going to catch up because he's fifth.
Huh,
But
that's
isn't
crazy.
that wild? Like,
That is crazy.
like after we kind of like we're questioning De'Ami Brown. I mean, he really came on at the end of the year, but he got an opportunity.
Yeah.
And maybe if Noah Brown hadn't gotten that opportunity, gone out, I don't think, he would have gotten a chance. But what do you guys think about his performance this year and the times that he got in, especially Bradley? How do you feel
Noah or
at this
De'Ami?
point?
Noah or De'Ami?
Well, Noah. I mean, I'm cool with Noah, but De'Ami.
Yeah,
what did you think about his
him
performance?
I want him back. Yeah, I want him back.
What do you guys think?
I think he's a strong receiver. I don't know if you consider him on the same level as Terry, but he doesn't really have to be.
He's not on the same level as Terry.
I think he's a great 4.
Yeah. And so if you're going to need another one, we're going to have to replace another strong one. A T. Higgins or somebody that, there's talk about him and coming from Cincinnati or whatever. Somebody like him is what we need to be real threat in that game.
Yeah. My concern is he'll get an offer from somewhere else and then you got to go, is it worth the price to match that? He's one of those players. Like, what's the cost going to be?
And here's the cool thing. I'm going to read out the list of our free agents this offseason.
Okay.
I want to hear from everybody. Like, want to keep them, want to get rid of them. Here's kind of the cool thing. For someone like Bobby Wagner, who's going to be a free agent, he can kind of pick where he wants to go, right? Like, there's a lot of people that would just pay him money. And Washington, for a lot of players, would not be where they would want to be, right? If they could pick, they'd go elsewhere, right?
Would they?
Well, I don't know if that's as true now as it was a year ago.
Well, that's the point I was about to make.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I jumped the gun.
Now, players want to be here. Players want to
stay
here.
And players want to stay here.
Yes. De'Ami, for a player like De'Ami who is drafted, people want to stay where they're drafted. Sometimes I worry, like, I think about, like, oh man, Terry maybe wants to go back to Terry wants to be here.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like, Terry wants to be here and we want him here, right? Like, if Terry could retire here, he would. That's
yeah. There's unfinished business here now.
That might not be true if we didn't have the turnaround that we just did.
Exactly.
But players are now going to want to play with Jaden. They're going to want to play for Dan Quinn and Adam Peters. They want to play. I mean, there's so much hope going to the NFC Championship. Now you're a competitive team. Okay.
That's right.
Wow. This franchise has now started to, like, really, people talk, people like Brandon Ayuk are, like, wanting to play for us before the season even started. Right. So it changes things, right? De'Ami might get offered a little bit more money to go play for the Panthers, but he would probably, I don't know, maybe he would take that offer if it's going to mean he's going to go be a number 2 there.
Right.
But he might just take the money here and say, I want to be a Commander.
Well, the Eagles took Dotson off of us, right? and he didn't really do much. He had a
No, he
couple of
didn't.
plays, maybe a touchdown here or there, right?
Yep.
Jahan.
Yeah,
So
but
how
that
did
was a
that?
trade, so it was a little different.
A different trade, yeah, but
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, right.
So let me read these free
Free
agents.
agencies. Okay, all
So
right.
number
So
one, oh yeah,
Bobby
what were you
Wagner.
gonna say, Dad?
Well, and because I think this is what got you started on it. I think Bobby Wagner is one of those players that felt the brotherhood and will want to stay here.
Yeah,
Like I think he believes in this team and this coaching staff, and I think he'll want to
yeah,
stay here. I think he'd be open to making a deal, even if it didn't
yeah.
quite,
well, how many years
and
does he have left? He's kind of a little on the older side, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
certainly a
But it's
veteran,
still
yeah.
good.
But and he's still good, and
still a Pro
and
Bowler.
the leadership quality that he brings, I think, is still key.
Yeah, that's
And
the most valuable part of
We
it.
we haven't, like we said before, we haven't had a linebacker in years that we even cared about.
Yeah,
When's the last time? Name a linebacker before this year.
Fletch.
London
That was
Fletcher,
the
I
last
was
time,
just-
and it's been over 10 years.
So
Wow.
so
Now
go ahead.
he's calling our games.
Yeah.
So number one is Diami.
Okay.
That's number one on the
Okay.
list.
Okay, Diami. Yeah. D- I, I mean, Diami looked great, and I would love to see him stay. I just don't know what kind of offers he's going to get, and I don't know because he's a rookie. I don't know. I think he's in a different headspace than like a Bobby Wagner. I think
Who's a
De'Ami
rookie?
Brown.
No, he's not a rookie.
No, he's not a rookie. I'm sorry, but
A
what
younger
Oh.
guy.
younger? Was this the second year?
No,
Third.
Diami's
Oh,
been there
really?
for a minute.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Gosh. Okay.
How many years
Um,
has he been there?
I think this is 3 because his contract is up after 4, or maybe it's his
oh,
4th year. I think he came in
oh, that's
the
right.
year
If he's
before.
Remember when we had Cam? We had the two Cams,
Was
one on offense and one on defense.
yeah, yeah,
He's
Cam
been
Sims.
he's been there since those days.
yeah.
I'm trying to
Okay.
think who our first round
Well,
pick was that year.
that might change things a little bit. I just wondered if he was going to be more open as a younger player to
Yeah.
sniffing around for what's best for
It's
him.
his first contract. It'll be his first
Right.
contract.
That's right. Yeah.
Actually, so I can read this list, but okay, yeah. Next is Noah Brown.
You take that, Tico. What do you think?
I think I'm neutral on him.
Yeah.
I
I'd
want
be
it
okay
back.
I was gonna say I'd be okay
Yeah.
if he moved on.
I'll take I want him more than Diami.
Really?
Much.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
big time.
okay.
I like him too. I think he's kind of player gets in the spot at the right time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, here's something funny. Here's
Hell no.
a funny stat about Noah. We had 5 pass interference calls against us or for us. All of them were with Noah Brown. Since Noah Brown got hurt, we've had 2 by other receivers.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's an interesting stat.
Alameda Zacchaeus.
Like him. Keep
I
him.
liked him. I liked him too. I thought he
I
stepped up.
hated when he dropped that ball that Diami threw him. He's
Oh, yeah, yeah.
him and
Yeah.
Diami are right there with their.
I say
I'm
keep
okay without Alameda. But
okay.
I'll tell you what. Dan Quinn loves him, so he's not going anywhere.
Right, right, yeah.
All right, this is the big one here, Tico. Zach Ertz.
Oh man, definitely a keeper.
Keep him as long as he wants to stay.
Definitely a keeper.
I think so too, and I think like the Bobby Wagner, I think he felt something here that he would like to continue to doing.
And
so.
he talked. I mean, he's gonna be here next year.
Yeah.
The
I'll guarantee
connections
that.
of him are very similar to him and Jaden.
And
they have a relationship.
yeah,
Totally, he and Jaden had clicked. Yeah.
I've been really hard on Zach this year, and I softened to him towards the end of the season because he's just the best dump off guy I've ever seen. But he's also more than that. He's also more than that.
Yeah.
So I've softened to Zach, and I do want him back. I would love some young talent in the tight end spotlight to shine on this team.
Yeah.
That's not Sinnott. That's okay. but I would love a young guy who can run through people. Because Zach, like I watch some of the other great tight ends, and it's not Zach, and
No,
that's
you're right.
okay. I'm not,
Yeah.
it does. He's not supposed to be them.
Do you want
But
a
I do
Kelsey?
want
Is
that.
that what you're saying?
I want
Taylor to
I want a
come to
Dallas
RC?
Goddard. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like Dallas
That's right,
Goddard
yeah.
was running over people, breaking tackles. I haven't seen Zach Ertz break a tackle, although he did jump over somebody in this game. Anyway,
I was trying.
Tress Way.
Yeah, and that's
bring
still
Tressway back.
somewhat of a rare
It is. You're right, Tico.
quality. Likely for Baltimore
Yeah.
has almost a wide receiver kind of quality.
Yeah.
Gronk could run over some
Gronk
people,
ran over people all the time. Yeah.
but generally speaking, they don't have the speed.
Kelsey.
And
Kelsey runs.
Kelsey
over people.
doesn't. Not really. I mean, very few tight ends run over people.
Yeah, I know. But I would say
they go down very quickly.
You don't think that Kelsey has most run after catch than any other tight end in the league?
They're big guys. When they get up ahead of steam, they're
hard
bowling
to
over
take down.
people.
They should be hard to take down. And it
Yeah,
looks like Zach
but they're not. They're not usually that hard to take down. There's something that's because you got to remember they're almost a hybrid lineman wide receiver put together.
They need to be a blocker
they're not
too.
Shifty. You're not going to see them running like Saquon Barkley. They just don't do it. I've seen Zach Ertz go down over. It seemed like the smallest guy just took him down.
Zach Ertz does, but I think that's Bradley's point.
That's my point. Yeah.
They're not shifty, but again, Dallas Goedert, Jason Kelsey get that head of steam going, and they just bowl people over. You see those.
I mean, y'all might be giving Goddard a little more.
Go
credit.
watch Brock Bowers highlights and tell me you don't want one of those on your team.
I mean, hey, right. I'm all for it. I'm not saying. I'm just saying.
Not saying you don't want it.
No, I hear.
Remember,
what you're saying.
I don't know if Eddie. I don't know if Eddie remembers, and probably Donnie does. You remember Jerry Smith?
From where?
Our tight end from the 60s and early 70s.
Redskins?
Number 87.
Yeah, that's going back a ways.
Okay.
Jerry Smith.
Jerry Smith was Washington's big tight end during the Lombardi and the George Allen days.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, I started watching in the George Allen days, but okay.
He could catch his butt off, but that was it. That was
right.
it. So I'm okay with tight ends being a possession. Zach did have a couple of little runs for first downs. But moving on, I think the consensus is that,
he's valuable in the red zone.
He's valuable.
Great route.
Yep. All right, so I got to start moving through this list. So we got Tress Way, Austin Siebert, and Zane Gonzalez.
Okay, don't even throw Tress Way in there. That's a no-brainer.
He's in there though.
I know he's up for a contract. Yeah.
Give him a little more money and
I think
he's good. Tress is
a couple more sandwiches.
Tress is burgundy and gold through and through.
I didn't see
he'll retire here. He'll retire.
Yeah, he will.
I didn't see enough punts to know if he's any good.
I want to see another trick play.
That pass was nice, wasn't it?
We Bradley and I saw him throw a pass like that against the Rams.
That thing scared me. That thing was up there like a loaf of bread. I was like, oh my God, I hope that's perfect because that thing is just floating.
Was that an exhibition game, Donnie?
No, it was a regular season when Kirk Cousins was the quarterback, and the Redskins were
Todd
the Redskins.
Gurley was running all over us.
Okay,
we won.
Okay,
but we beat him.
Go ahead, Bradley.
And then we got the two kickers who I'll say we need a new kicker. I don't want Zane or I don't want Siebert back.
You're right.
I'm good.
I don't know if they're getting
Siebert did good until he got hurt.
He did okay.
Oh, he did good, but we put him in a position to do good because he wasn't kicking field goals over 45 yards.
Right. See the one with the OCD thing going on? Like,
and he's got that on.
That was Zane.
The hair.
That was Zane.
That was Zane. Sorry, that was Zane. Okay, you're right.
All right, we got Dante Fowler, Cleveland Farrell, and Cleveland Farrell, two D linemen.
What was the third
I say
one?
keep Dante.
Dante and Cleveland Farrell.
There's only two. Okay, definitely want to keep Dante.
Yeah. I'm with you there.
Cleveland Farrell did okay. He did okay.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
know.
okay moving on from Cleveland.
Yeah, I would be okay with that too. I think.
We brought him in to be a run stopping guy. And hey, we didn't stop the run very well. So
Yeah.
No.
I'm
It's a
good
place where I feel
without
like
him.
we could make an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
and I don't like that two big men and then Fowler and Louvu on the edges. That didn't work.
Mhm.
Mm.
That totally made us vulnerable in the run game. It got some sacks. It definitely got some sacks. But when it was a run play, we got chewed up. Let's admit
Yeah.
it. We got
Let's move
chewed up
on
a
from
little
those
bit.
negative ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Bobby Wagner is the next one.
We already
We've already
said Bobby
talked about
Wagner.
him.
Yeah,
Let's move on. We want him back.
We want him.
Benjamin St. Juste and Noah Igbenogany.
I'd definitely say
St. Juice, get
St.
some
Juice
money
is-
for him.
Yeah.
Get some money for him. Get some trades for him.
Yeah.
I'm okay.
So these are free agents. These are people who, if
Yeah,
we don't pay,
it's not
they
a
walk.
trade.
And you know
Yeah.
what? And if St. Juice is watching, I loved it when Marshawn Lattimore came in the game and you didn't really hear St. Juice's name when he was in the game, because he was in the game for several plays, for a lot of plays, and he wasn't making penalties.
Yeah.
He was doing better.
Here's what I'll say about St. Juste. Out of all of our corners, he's the best tackler.
Yeah.
He can get guys on the ground.
Yeah.
And he's a big dude. And we don't really have a bunch of big corners. It doesn't matter. I think his time is up here. The fans hate him.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guy. He got put in a bad position.
You get picked on when you're weak. You get picked on.
Yeah.
Take this experience and go to another team.
I'm rooting for him.
help.
Yeah, right.
You know, I would love to see him do good at another team.
Agreed.
But the vibe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know even if the locker room is dogging him. You know what I mean?
But Noah, I'd like
Igbenogany?
back in a backup capacity. I want Sanders still inside. I want Lattimore on the outside, and I want blank corner who isn't on the team yet,
right?
To be on the other side, and Noah comes in off the bench. I love it. I love that.
Igbenogany.
So you're saying move Sandersill back into the slot where he played in college.
Where he played in college. Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I hated the
Because I know there's
fact
some
when they
discussion
put
about that too.
Sanders still on
AJ.
That looked like a man and a little his son.
And yet overall he did okay on the outside. I mean,
He
I
did
think
great.
He performed above
but
what
you know
the
they should have
expectations
doubled.
were,
They should have either doubled.
Yeah.
And then the last guy is, and this is I think the most contentious one, is Jeremy Chin.
Oh,
I love him.
Definitely bringing him back.
I like him.
So here's my thing about Chin, though, guys, is
he missed that tackle on Saquon.
Well, and I think that a lot of the safety play goes kind of unnoticed when it's good and when it's bad. And sometimes it's like, oh, that guy was wide open. Well, where was the safety? You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know how good Jeremy Chin actually is. I've seen him make some plays. I've also seen him miss some plays.
Mm-hmm.
I like Jeremy Chin. I think he hits super hard.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the run game has to do with safeties. Like people don't realize that, especially his, the free safety, the strong safety, or maybe I'm mixing that up.
I think he is the strong safety.
One of the two has to sit back there, and a lot of that was Quan. And then the other one is kind of up at the line of scrimmage, kind of as one of the linebackers in a lot of formations. When they're two high safeties, then they're both back there.
Right.
But a lot of times they're helping in the run game. And so I'm like, where is the run? What's the problem with our run defense? What is it? Is it D-line?
I think
it's
that
safety. What is it?
I think it's that two big man and the two linebackers on the side posing as defensive ends.
Well, then you tell me, Tico, who is being paid the most on the defense?
Probably Jonathan Allen
and Deron Payne. Both of those guys. So is that the problem? Are our two highest paid players a problem?
No,
that's a problem.
Because the two of them cannot handle these tough offensive lines by themselves.
Okay.
And then when you put Louvu and Fowler as their mates, their line mates, it's not enough beef. The Eagles line, the Eagles offensive line, man, they're like everybody's, average 320, 6'4", 6'5".
D ends are usually the smaller of the group. They're not the
Yeah,
bigger.
but they still got to be bigger than Luvu and Fowler.
Fowler.
Yeah.
Well,
They
Fowler
just,
is a D end.
But remember we had this conversation.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't have to rehash
Okay.
that. But
Yeah.
okay, so you're saying it's a D end problem.
Yeah, I mean you can bring one of them down if you got three big beefies on the line. But to have those two be your edge the whole time, that's why they in the last couple of games they start switching it up and putting four really big dudes in there.
I don't know,
and then bringing them back to a normal linebacker spot.
Right.
I really don't. I don't have the answer. I hope it's not a linebacker problem because I like our linebackers. I hope it's not a safety problem because I want to bring Jeremy Chin back and I like Quan Martin. Right.
Well, see, also remember when you put Luvu and Fowler up as defensive linemen, and then you bring in all these little safeties, because they weren't using a bunch of other backup linebackers.
Chin's bigger than all of them.
Yeah, but I'm saying Sandra Still,
gotcha.
Quan Martin, St. Juice. St. Juice is tall, but he's not. I mean, he's not a linebacker. They're not linebackers. Chin could be a small linebacker.
He's bigger than Luvu and Bobby
in weight too. Not Bobby. He's taller than Bobby. He's taller than Bobby. But he's thinner. Bobby's a stacked guy. Bobby's a Ray Lewis kind of guy. But when you have all these DBs back there, right? You got all these lightweights. You got these two lightweight so-called defensive ends, and then you only got two beefcakes in the middle. And these offensive linemen have been getting their guys through.
Around.
Yeah.
But we've been making good adjustments. Like I said, Saquon didn't run over us in the second half. He did not have two strong halves all three times when he played us. But those one halves, I mean, he scored twice his first two drives.
Yeah.
And whether he gets
so you're looking for either in free agency or in the draft a big lineman or DN to come in and help with the run game. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Like what's his name? Newton did pretty good this year.
He's small. He's really, really small for a D lineman.
Yeah, but he's still bigger than Luvu and them.
Yes.
He's still, when you look at him, you go,
that's not who you're talking about, though.
No, but I'm saying he was taking Jonathan Allen's place most of the year.
And he's smaller than Jonathan Allen, isn't he?
Yeah. And Jonathan Allen's a small D lineman. So I hear what you're saying. You're looking for a big guy.
We may just need some more beef, man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Period.
Let's move to what do we got left? We got favorite moments.
We could. I mean, we talked about the offseason. That was the key for me to looking forward. But we could each share one favorite moment.
I do like that.
I kind of wanted to celebrate the season, So
yeah.
And just to clarify, so anybody watching this, Jonathan Allen 6'3", 300 pounds. Okay. Just so you know that.
Yeah.
He's not a small man.
Look at Jalen Carter. Tell me how big he is.
Okay.
Because that's who you're talking about, Tico. That's who you're talking about, like that just eats up runs. Jalen Carter is the quintessential for me. That's who. I mean, he's a man.
You
got him? What's his size?
I mean, I don't have him up yet.
I thought you were looking at it the way you were
I'm just
shaking your
it's
head
just like,
or nodding your head.
No, he's a big boy. He's
okay.
And he's strong. He's fast.
So okay, it does kind of lead right into it then, Bradley. What you're saying?
Biggest need.
Tico, what is our biggest need?
Yeah.
Is that our biggest need? The D line.
The D line's got to be. It's
addressed. It's got to be addressed.
Yeah. No, we don't. We need a star. We need a star in the D line.
Yeah.
Because the O line needs to be addressed too.
Well,
I think the O line. They kept. So. They kept.
No,
they did
it isn't
better.
mine.
They overachieved. It
isn't mine because the offense still performs even though our O line has been weak. our offense has been able to perform. The
But they
defense
got it.
is
The
getting
run.
gashed, and they're getting gashed up front, and they're getting gashed in the back. So I feel like there's a lot of needs.
Any other
on defense.
quarterback but Jaden would have been swallowed up in the
Yeah,
offense.
agreed.
Okay, let's move on.
Jaden seems to perform better when he's being blitzed, somehow. So
Eddie, who do you got for what do you got for our biggest need in the offseason? What do you want to see? Draft.
I want to see a running back that explodes like a Saquon, but I know it's not available. But something close to Saquon, power runner, shifty someone who runs over people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Eddie, after this, go look up Ashton Genty's highlights, because if I would love Ashton Genty,
college player that he
this
to pick
kid
up in the
is
draft.
unreal.
That's
or
a
the
running
guy
back. That's a running back.
That guy reminds me of Saquon a little.
He was up for the Heisman.
So he won't still be around at 20.
28.
I
he might.
I think we're 29, aren't we, Brad?
Jalen Carter, 6'3", 314. He's right around a little bit bigger than Jonathan Allen. But it's his mentality. It's a mentality.
He looks bigger because of his mentality.
Also a talent.
He's a bear.
Yeah.
He's a bear.
Need another one of him. Let's get a Jalen.
And they don't come on. Let's face it. Superstars, they're superstars for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not their size. It's not their height. It's not what school they went to.
It's an X factor. Something that's
it's
hard
an X factor.
to pin down. Yeah.
We know Jalen. Whenever you know somebody else from another team, that guy's something special.
Yeah.
It's hard enough to know your own team.
Yeah. So we got for Eddie is running back. For Dad, what was it? It was a cornerback.
I was going to say I'm going to say D back.
Okay.
Corner. Yeah.
Ed,
I thought you said offensive line.
I started with that, but I switched because.
Tico, what do you say? You're saying D line.
I'm saying D line, and I'm saying run game.
Okay.
Let's say two.
I'll take O line because I think that I do think it's a huge issue, and especially on that left side. We have a bunch of backups playing right now.
Yeah, right.
As our starters, and I think they played admirably. I like Biotish. Cosme's great. We'll see what happens after his ACL surgery. I'm a little nervous. I think that Andrew Wiley played well in a lot of games. I don't think he's not an all-star. He's not a superstar, like you said, Tico, but he's serviceable. On the left side, we got Brandon Coleman and Nick Allegretti.
Coleman did okay for a rookie, right?
He did okay for a rookie. I think he's a guard.
They put him in the wrong spot, maybe.
I think he's a guard.
Yeah.
They drafted him as a tackle, and I like trying him out, but I think you move him one spot to the left and you draft a left tackle, and I feel pretty good about our line.
Isn't one of those guys contract up is going to be a free agent as well? Wiley or Allegretti? Neither of them are free agents.
I think both of them were 2-year contracts. So.
Okay, good. That's good.
What is Durance Armstrong? What's his status?
I think he's a 2-year.
He's not
2-year guy.
He's got to be a 2-year guy.
He'll be on
the list. Yeah.
Yeah. See, when he started off the year getting a lot of sacks, and then they started playing different schemes, and he got hurt a little bit. I think he missed 1 or 2 games. Jonathan Allen missed a bunch of games. Let's face it. They got some work to do, and thank God it's not our job to figure it out. Yeah, because we know there's something missing. It's not when you say Philly's defense, you don't even have to know the players' names. It just feels just like a brick wall.
But also, thank God we have a foundation this year. We're not starting like
we're not starting.
We need help. We got this is not working. No. This is not working. That a lot worked this year, and people did play kind of above their expectations a lot this year.
And we got fortunate. We got very fortunate.
It's a nice feeling to be able to build from something.
There's a lot of things that you can kind of overlook because we have such an amazing quarterback. Mm-hmm. Look at Josh Allen. What are his wide receivers? Can anybody name a single one except for Curtis Samuel?
Number 13. What's 13? Who's 13? What's his name? I don't know his name. He's good. I don't know.
I had one of them, Shakir, on my fantasy team, and he didn't seem to be doing much. And he ended where we are. So
Right.
Anyway, I think we should go on and talk about our favorite moments of the season, and then let's get the hell out of
The
here.
hell
should
to the
wrap it, yeah.
Mary, man. Hell to the Mary.
Hail to the Mary.
What are we
There.
calling
Hail to
it?
the Mary.
Hail to the Mary.
That's what I'm calling
That's
it
kind of
right
funny.
now.
I like
I
that.
thought it was
Hail
Hail
to the
Noah. That was
Mary.
mine was Hail
Well,
Noah.
What was
especially
it, Eddie?
Hail Noah.
Hail no. I
Hail
like
Noah, right,
Noah's
that's right.
Ark. I like Noah's Ark. That one was my favorite.
Well, it's hard not it's
Hail
hard to
to the
disagree with the
Mary.
Hail Mary. That's it. That I mean, just the elation, the feel. You remember the feeling you felt in that moment that we pulled out that win was unbelievable.
Yeah.
We're going to
I'll just go
remember
back.
where we were, too. We're going to remember where we were, what we were doing.
Yeah.
I just go back a couple of weeks to the drive, the final drive against Tampa Bay, because it was so well executed. There was still like 4.5, but we could have gone down and scored that too early, if we screwed that up, and it was methodical. It was so well played out. And of course, Zane did have us holding on to our seats there as he doinked off the upright, but the offense did their job just perfectly and really got us in the right place. And that was just such a feeling of like, that usually happens to us. We're not the ones executing that, but we executed that kind of a drive more than once this year. But I just felt like that one was the epitome. It was really sweet. That first playoff game, first playoff win in a long time too. So that made it that much sweeter.
All right, Eddie, you or me?
I'll go. I mean, mine has to be the Hail Mary too, so it's really kind of boring, my answer. But I guess the only other game was I think it was the comeback against Dallas, the second game.
The second one with
Where we had a
Mariota
little
and the
walk-off.
quarterback. Yeah.
Walk off touchdown.
And
Terry.
was that
That
at
was-
home or was that away in Dallas?
I think that was at home.
Yeah. So it just, like something about us finishing games and just not leaving any room on the table
Right.
for any more progress
Yeah.
for the team. That's what I
Yeah.
love.
No, that was
It happened
great.
7 or 8 times.
Yeah. Man, it's really hard to pick one. I'm gonna do a couple honorable mentions because I can't pick one. Honorable mention the throw to Terry on the sideline in the Bengals game.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was
That
would
have been my second one.
That was the start of like, wow, we're a good team.
It's when you knew we had something special.
we had
Like,
something special.
Yeah.
Oh God, I just remembered another one. The catch by Terry in the Ravens game was crazy.
Oh,
I remember
yeah.
that catch. I just remember jumping out of my chair.
Wait, was it a TD or?
Yeah, it was like in the end zone, and it was like on 4th down. And it was like on the ground, basically. It was insane. And then here's my other honorable mention: Falcons game, overtime, drive to win it and go to the playoffs. That was pretty epic.
That was great.
The one that I think is the most memorable for me, because it was just the most emotion, and it wasn't even like a play that I don't think a lot of people will remember, but it's the Jeremy Chin pick against Detroit, where we won the game.
Yeah,
that whole game was memorable, but for me, I just remember that moment, sealing it, and just the emotion coming out of me. We talked about it last week.
We did.
It was this like rush of just joy, just pure joy. And that there was a lot of memorable moments in that game.
Yeah, there were.
That one. So
that sealed it, right? Yeah.
The seal to go to the NFC Championship was pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Okay, I give me some honorable mentions
do it.
Yeah.
It's fun to talk about.
Both of Terry's longest runs. The one against Detroit, where he goes underneath these 2 guys,
Oh yeah.
They almost made
under
a
the
bridge.
He goes under the bridge, and they kind of fall, and he outruns the other guy, pushes him off, and then has to propel himself to dive over into the end zone.
Yeah.
And then his other big one against Dallas, the first Dallas.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Philly.
Oh, the first Dallas when we should have tied it up. Yeah.
When he gets like a 20-yard, 40-yard pass and takes it to the house.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And that's the first time I really said, Terry can run.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Terry can not only catch bombs, but he can run the distance. And this was Terry's year to come out.
And he did get that ultimate comeback in the final Dallas game, which, by the way, was in Dallas. I just looked it up.
Okay,
the last game was in Dallas. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. See, that's why it was quiet in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I didn't want to make the statement and say that it was at home. And like, why would it be quiet? We just won the game.
No.
Yeah, there were some awesome moments. I mean, just blowing out Carolina, the Browns and Arizona.
And
was
Arizona.
pretty
Tennessee,
awesome,
and
too. Tennessee was that a blowout?
yeah, we pretty much
We beat him up pretty good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess you could call it a blowout. Yeah. So the
Yeah.
blowing out 4 teams this year
Yeah,
was pretty
that
cool.
felt really good. That felt really
Pretty
good.
cool.
Yeah.
All right,
this-
so
So
talk about
I'm really thankful that finally, after all the agony that we've gone through, we had a year that we didn't know how to act.
Yeah, man.
We didn't know what to feel. We almost couldn't even believe that we were winning these games. Some of them, definitely were the cardiac
but
kids.
You're right.
But-
You're like, we don't know how to feel.
Yeah,
we don't know
this
how
is
to
so
feel.
foreign to us. Look, we're talking about put this game behind us. This year we put the Dan Snyder era behind us.
Mhm.
We put those 2 decades in the rearview mirror.
Even though
And,
he's rearing his ugly head in the news.
Yeah.
He's hating it,
What
which
an
I
asshole.
love. That
Yeah.
he's hating the success.
It's interesting, we're wrapping up this episode. We're also wrapping up this season.
Yep,
and
we sure
it's it's a mix of emotions, and
Sure.
so I think we're stretching it a little bit. But but I mean, good reason, because this 2024 season we'll remember forever. I mean,
For
it
sure.
really, 2023, 2022, 2020, we went to the playoffs in that one, Taylor Heineke. But there's seasons you forget. This won't be one of them. And
For sure.
we're never going to have a season like this again. Next year it'll be new, because the expectations will be new, right?
Yes.
It's not going to be this surprise when we make the playoffs again. It's not going to be a surprise when we are beating up on lesser teams, and hopefully we'll be better next year.
Yeah.
And more consistent.
It would be a surprise if we
Right.
don't make it to the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah.
I think we should say our goodbyes.
Yeah.
so-
Hey guys,
I
it's
think
been
so.
great, man.
Been
You
a
guys
good.
were great. Appreciate
Yeah.
y'all.
I
Look,
think
appreciate
the
this.
next
this is the reason for people to subscribe, though, because we may do some surprise episode before the season starts
Yeah.
and talk about the draft or the trades or something. Who knows? So if you subscribe, you'll be notified. You'll know when we're back, when we're doing this again.
I was gonna say we might see you back if they're after the off season, and kind of do a little bit of a recap.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, but we're not gonna see y'all till 2020. Till
Till
September. So
September,
Yeah.
or maybe
Yeah,
late
well,
summer.
we may do a
We
little
might have to
draft.
do a
we're
summer-
motivated now. Let's face it. We got a little more motivation.
Well, listen, I
right?
saw a stat, and you can throw it up at the end if you want.
Okay.
We have a salary cap. We're in the top 3. We're the 3rd most
That's
salary
right.
cap with the 89.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
think the
We're in good
Raiders,
shape.
And then,
we got
obviously
7
Patriots
picks.
have 120 million. So I think we're going to be fine.
We're gonna be great. It's gonna be
Adam
great.
Peters do his thing.
And,
All right.
and
Let's enjoy it,
to-
guys.
To give Jaden Daniels one more accolade. Yeah, he is leading in the playoffs. He's the leading quarterback with the most yards.
That's awesome.
And here's another
Okay.
one, Tico. Most yards by a rookie in the playoffs in history.
And I believe most
Almost 1,000
touchdowns as well
yards
by a rookie.
In 3 games,
yeah.
he's got almost he's
800,
got 800. He's got 800 and some yards. Can you
nice.
believe that?
In 3
it's
games?
crazy.
He's our guy.
It's surprising he
Jaden.
only got to 3,000 in the regular season.
Yeah.
He'll get over that
Talking
next
total
year.
Yeah.
yards, though,
Yeah,
running
yeah.
and passing combined. Is that what
No,
you
passing yards.
That's
said?
passing.
Just passing.
Passing, he's got almost 800.
Shit.
Or
And
he's got over 800, but
yeah, he's got over 800. 800. He's
Probably
got almost,
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he has 200 yards.
he's got 822 yards in
Whew.
3
you
games.
got a quarterback, gentlemen.
Yeah.
All right.
You know.
That
Next
we do.
season will be even better, guys. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Lots
All
to look
right,
forward to.
guys.
Let's do it.
Peace.
Okay.
Thanks again for tuning in. That's a wrap for this episode of Command West, the last episode of this season, of Command West. We hope you had just as much fun listening as we did. Bring you the latest and the greatest of the Burgundy and Gold every week. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe. And
Subscribe.
stay tuned for next season.
Be here. See ya.